Expert tips on how to best use oil-soluble pigments in your cosmetics routine. Differences between oil-soluble pigments and water-soluble pigments. The main difference between oil-soluble pigments and water-soluble pigments is that oil-soluble pigments are only soluble in oil-based products, whereas water-soluble pigments can be dissolved in water-based products. This means that oil-soluble pigments are more suitable for oil-based cosmetic products, such as lipsticks, foundations, and eyeshadows, while water-soluble pigments are better suited for water-based products, such as liquid eyeliners and mascaras. Types of oil-soluble pigments. There are two types of oil-soluble pigments, organic and inorganic. Organic oil-soluble pigments are made up of natural or synthetic chemicals that dissolve in oil-based products. Inorganic oil-soluble pigments, on the other hand, are composed of mineral compounds that do not dissolve in water but do dissolve in oils. Popular oil-soluble pigments used in cosmetics. Some of the most commonly used oil-soluble pigments in cosmetics include iron oxides, ultramarines, chromium oxide green, manganese violet, tin oxide. How to incorporate oil-soluble pigments into your makeup routine. Adding oil-soluble pigments to your favorite makeup products can give you more control over the color outcome and application. Here are some tips for incorporating oil-soluble pigments into your makeup routine. Start with a small amount of pigment and gradually add more to achieve the desired color intensity. Use a clean mixing palette or the back of your hand to mix the pigment with the base product. Choosing the right base for oil-soluble pigments. When selecting a base product to mix with oil-soluble pigments, it is essential to consider the product's texture and consistency. Some of the best base products to use with oil-soluble pigments include mineral oil, jojoba oil, castor oil, vegetable glycerin, beeswax. How to prevent oil-soluble pigments from smudging or fading. To avoid smudging or transfer of oil-soluble pigments, it is essential to follow some techniques, including letting the product dry before touching the skin. Always applying the product with a brush or sponge to avoid direct contact with the fingers. Tips for selecting the right equipment for oil-soluble pigment cosmetics include purchasing tools that are easy to clean and sterilize. Keeping the pigment containers tightly closed when not in use. Storing pigments in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. Labeling containers with the product name and date of purchase. Using pigments within their stated shelf life. Conclusion. In conclusion, oil-soluble pigments are an excellent addition to cosmetics routine for their vibrant color, versatility, and long-lasting performance. Understanding the properties and best practices for using oil-soluble pigments can help you create stunning makeup looks while minimizing risks.